I'm Aaron Nelson with the Chamber for a Greater Chapel Hill Carborough, and we're very excited to have a special guest with us, Matt Valego from Infintech. For nearly 10 years, Infintech has partnered with the Chamber to help our members do credit card processing. We've been really pleased. They both process credit cards for our Chamber of Commerce and for more than 50 members in our membership. We brought Matt on to talk to us about touchless pay systems and to make sure that local businesses are prepared as we reopen in this COVID economy to provide a customer service that requires less human interaction. Welcome, Matt.
Thank you, Aaron. Appreciate it.
So talk to us. What are touchless pay systems?
Right. Well, it's truthfully defined as digital technology that securely passes cardholder data. And it's contactless is a really big buzzword in term industry that's thrown around a lot now due to everything that's taking place. Even last night, a big mainstream company put out on their commercial, the first, right after you see their logo, the first benefit of doing business with them was that they have contactless payments. So it's certainly something we're going to keep seeing more and more of, important to understand. And what a contactless payment is that when you're at a point of sale counter or in a business and you're making that payment, what happens is the system will prompt for the dollar amount of the sale. And in contactless, either a smartphone or a smartwatch or a card with near field communication, a regular credit card, but it's got a symbol on it to let you know it does accept NFC communication, will then make the payment. So you don't have to actually physically touch a card. A cashier or checkout clerk doesn't have to touch that card physically or touch cash, which then makes the payment cashless or contactless rather.
Are they secure?
That's the next big question. You know, when you think about this technology being passed around out in the open, people think, well, is my card number then floating around where someone can capture it? And what's happening in the case of a smartphone, what you do is you put your card number into that device. Well, that device then truncates the information and uses a token at the time of payment. So when you're at the point of sale checkout, your phone's going to prompt you, the sale's $100. You want to go ahead and make that payment. You're then transmitting a token over and not your full card data. So that's what technology and time that these contactless payments have been out have shown them to be more secure than having your actual card number out there floating around, basically, is what you want to avoid. So it goes the same for your actual contactless card too. When you use it, the information in that token is actually continually updating. So that's where it is extremely secure, because if someone does get it, they're only getting a token that changes every time you make a transaction.
Does the physical card with that little indicator on it, that little icon, work the same?
Yes, that's using near field communication. So where the phone will prompt you to make sure you're okay with the sale, the near field communication card, once that signal is transmitted from the device to looking to accept the payment, it picks up the near field communication card and then completes the transaction.
So how does a business get started? Do they need special software, special readers?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they have to make sure that their software or their readers are updated to accept this form of communication. Many businesses might actually have the necessary hardware, but that software might not be updated. So to determine that, they'd want to contact their processor and just say, hey, can we take near field communication? We're not sure. We've never done that before. And either it's going to be a case of they might have it now and not know. They might need to do an update, which should be very relatively easy to just pick up the latest software on it. Or in some cases, with this technology, anything about 6-7 years and older didn't have the storage and the data to be able to pass near field communication. So there might be cases where they have to get a new, maybe pin pad or something sort of on the counter to again allow for a much easier transaction as opposed to passing a card and then it goes back behind a counter to process. It's all right in front of the customer when they get within that about less than a foot about that sort of space is when the communication piece will pick up automatically.
Would you recommend that folks move towards this sort of a system? We have also heard people talking about Venmo and other ways to shoot and send money to each other.
Right. Well, I think the term contactless is really broadening to even mean, well, it's contactless when you make an appointment online and pay that way, even before you show up to the place of business, or maybe on the app, you place your order and then pull up. So I think it's just important when a customer comes into the place of business and they're going through the transaction, just be cognizant of what we're all doing there. And if you maintain social distancing all the way through the transaction, and then at the end you're passing a card back and forth, I think it's great to limit that as much as we can. So any way a business can do that where applicable to them, whether it's the service is performed and they're calling and giving their card information, or if it's just a better way to perform contactless with a forward-facing PIN pad or something that just allows the customer not to have to pass the card. I think it's something to really consider for businesses.
Is the rate any different for credit card processing if they don't actually sign the paper?
No, it is not. So that's more of a older security feature that's no longer required, was the signature of the card. So in contactless, the same credit card, if you swipe it or use the chip or the near field communication, all those rates are exactly the same. There's no difference there. Or the phone, same thing if you have a personal card loaded into your Apple phone and you pay that way, there's no cost difference there by using the card on your phone or in person and doing the chip transaction. All those rates are the same because it's truly the same credit card. You're just transmitting the information either by a token or by using the card numbers. That's a good question. Yeah.
So the business will get the same amount of money using it in either way.
Correct. Yep. Contactless or the physical passing of the card. Correct.
Now, we have worked with you for a long time, and you've been providing some great benefits to our members. I think we did a recent calculation. We think you're processing almost $25 million a year in our local chamber member money. Mm-hmm. You've said that you could beat a member's processing fees, or you would give them $1,000. And in the 8 years, you've never given anybody $1,000.
Yeah.
You've been providing great service, and we appreciate that. What things does Infintech have right now that could support our members and your customers?
Right. So we have a mobile app that we're releasing to chamber members that comes with a free Bluetooth card reader that does contactless and EMV chip transactions. So we're offering that free to chamber members. Previously, there was a cost to that. So if a business needs a mobile app and a Bluetooth card reader that is contactless, that'd be a great time to reach out to us. On the other side of that too, we've noticed through this, businesses that used to receive checks a lot, if they're all working from home and those checks are going into the main office, usually the billing person that was reconciling those hasn't been coming in over this time. So we have a great system called Bill and Pay, where businesses can do email invoicing, collecting ACH or credit card payments through that. So to help speed up the time of waiting on a check in the mail to come in, or we're not in the office to actually run that payment over our physical terminal, Bill and Pay is also being offered for no setup cost right now. It goes through June. We'll extend that to the end of June. Obviously, we're getting there quick already. So.
A lot of people are anxious about changing because they're concerned about the disruption of switching to a new system or a new physical terminal. What can you say to help settle some of those fears?
Yeah, no one wants to change. Just it's a little difficult at times. It can be daunting for some to think about it, but once I generally speak to a business, our whole approach is we're tailoring our solutions to that business owner and that business directly. So already I think our fit's going to be really good for businesses in terms of what we're providing. And then we really help through that process of there's not like the date stops and you have to use us starting on a certain date. We're here to gradually work with you. So if we're setting up something new, you'll have access to it, and it's up to the business when they implement it. We don't, Friday afternoon, 6 o'clock before a really busy weekend might not be the great time to change everything. So we're here to work with the business and do it the right way.
Perfect. And you always remind me that folks they keep their banking relationship. They often can keep their point of sale system, sometimes even the exact same hardware that they have. But you all are the intermediate processor that can give them sort of best-in-class pricing and that consulting service that you've offered for so many of our members for free to help them figure out, make good choices. We've really appreciated that.
No problem. No, I appreciate working with the Chamber as well.
Any final advice for small businesses as they consider this change?
No, it's important to think about the last step in the process of your services, and that's usually where the payment occurs. I think initially it's for businesses, it's how do we open successfully and be appropriate to these guidelines that are out. We're that last step. So do think about the last experience that the customer has, because it's an important one. And it's going to be a big deal about who gets that right. We'll go a long way, I think, for customer interaction.
Well, thank you, Matt, and thank you, Infintech, for your years of partnership and your strong service and support to small business. We're grateful for your time today.
Thank you, Aaron. Appreciate your time.